This is The Toss-Up, where we take a look at some of the topics facing the world of sports and give a little bit of the history behind some of them. We're not trying to change your mind, we just want to dive deeper into the topics that keep you tuned in to the teams you love. Brian Hoyer, Josh McCown, Scott Tolzien, Tom Savage, and no, these aren't the members of a new boy band that's about to make it to the Final Four of America's Got Talent. These are real men who started at quarterback in the NFL last Sunday. And we were this close to getting a guy named Nathan Peterman to start for the Bills. My guess is 95% of football fans outside of the University of Pittsburgh have never heard of him. I know I hadn't before this past weekend. You know, for being the league that's supposed to harbor the most elite athletes football has to offer, there sure seems to be a lack of elite talent at the quarterback position. See, when I think of the top gunslingers in the National Football League, I think of guys like Brady, Rodgers, Breeze, and there are many fans who can make a case for Russell Wilson or Eli Manning to be mentioned in the upper echelon of signal callers, or even Andrew Luck, if he can ever stay healthy. But outside of this core group, there's a small drop-off that continues to get steeper and steeper and steeper, and then you get to Scott Tolzien's level. So it begs the question, where are all the elite quarterbacks? I think we all agree that it's like Brady, Rodgers, Breeze, those are the top three, and then we mentioned guys like Russell Wilson who could end up stepping up into one of those elite roles. And then maybe the future is going to be Jameis Winston and Marcus Mariota. I guess we don't know, but right now we know where the stance of NFL elite quarterbacks are, and there's just really not many. So right now, we're going to go ahead and take a little short break, but when we come back, we're going to discuss one of my favorite topics and arguably the best season of the year, fantasy football season. Going to talk about what we saw last week and what to expect for the season going forward. So stick with us. Because if Bruce Arena or if no one else is going to speak out to the team, Alexi Lalas had to be the guy to do it. He is the one who had to send the message. Now, going back to your point about Jurgen Klinsmann, personally, I think that he might have got the axe a little bit too early. I know he had that bad loss to Mexico, and then he lost to, I believe it was Costa Rica around the same time too. It's just 2 straight losses, and then he was gone. You forget about what he did at the 2014 World Cup in the group of death stage. The only team that he lost to was Germany, the eventual champions of the World Cup. Ended up taking the team to the round of 16, where the USMNT probably shouldn't have been there in the first place in the group of death. So I think that he had a lot of success. He got the axe early, but I mean, that's besides the point now. Bruce Arena is there. He's the guy. Alexi Lalas, he had to be the one to call out the team because no one else is going to do it. And I'll agree with you on that. He was a futuristic kind of coach. He wasn't really thinking about the now. It always kind of seemed like he was really looking forward to the future. I mean, you think about Julian Green, and everyone was saying that he could be like the next Lionel Messi at the World Cup. He was the youngest person to score at the time. Even had like the same picture of him and Messi side by side pointing right after he scored. Too many comparisons for the young guy. He did that with a couple of other players too. So he was thinking about the future. But then, Juan, going back to your point about talking about the players, they need to sweat it out when they put on that national team jersey. After Alexi Lalas' statement, you see players on the national team tweeting out like Josie Altidore. He said, "I don't even have any tattoos," and then like a laughing emoji. See guys like Pulisic and then Michael Bradley saying the line doesn't take the opinion of a sheep, and we're not going to lose any sleep over this. Yeah, I feel like, I mean, if it's not going to be Alexi Lalas, I'd love to see a guy like Landon Donovan, speak out to like that. Someone who really has that stature with the national team. But I'm glad that he's the person who had to say it, because someone had to come out and someone had to put this team on blast, because it just seems like they're kind of taking it as a joke. I mean, you look at after the Costa Rica loss, Bruce Arena, after the match, he was asked what went wrong. He said, "Oh, well, I was out-coached in this one." And usually a lot of coaches don't like to admit that, but he said that he was out-coached. After all the media went away and the cameras were off him, he said, "Yeah, I was just kind of joking with you guys. I didn't want you to brag on all of the other players. I want the focus on me." So he wanted the focus on him, but he just said, "I was joking around." You just lost 2-0 to Costa Rica. You can't be joking around after that kind of match. That just can't happen. And right now, I just don't know how serious this team is. They would lose a lot of fans, I think. Because I think during the 2014 World Cup and that run, that's really when soccer in the United States like hit its peak, or really started to like grow at its fastest way. If they don't make the World Cup, a lot of people are going to start to tune out a little bit, because so many people in the United States, we're not all MLS fans, we're not all Premier League fans, we don't all watch every Real Madrid and Barcelona match. A lot of people only like to pay attention to the United States national team. And if they don't do what we expect them to do, then people are going to start tuning out. It's really players like that that don't like get on the stat sheet the whole time, where they're really the most crucial players on their team and the most effective. On the women's soccer team, because I do all of their games, Kayla Smith, she's a senior midfielder, and she never scores. She has 1 assist, I believe, on the year. Doesn't score any goals, but she is tough as nails at 5'1". She does all the dirty work, and she's the point guard of the team, essentially. Whenever something needs to happen, if the team isn't creating any offense, you give her the ball, you let her take care of it. That's kind of like the role that Gutjahr and Frankie Moore are playing on their respective squads. They're just really out there to do whatever they can to help out the team. They don't need to score. They don't need to get the assists. They know what they're doing, and Yeagley knows that they're the most important players.
Here, they rival each other, express such of the two programs side by side. Calipari were to maintain. We had to break just to play. Get the last thing I want to ask, if process and start to try and clean up, do you avoiding college basketball internationally getting paid going at this point?
Absolutely. I doubt you will see. I mean, if you're good enough to go on, take a year off, a trainer of some sort.
Mitchell Rob, Ducky.
Exactly. Train with them. Go overseas for a year. I mean, basketball, you're still very. Why not just go up against the college for a year, and that's the way you want to go? And if you want to be paid, really, possibility. I mean, you look at he wanted to, but he didn't. He wasn't going to get paid, and then.
I've been a supporter of the idea of you can go straight from high school or years. I've always thought that could be where, because look at LSU and based school after.
He is, and he's still going to go to UCLA at the, but he's got that scholarship.
Kind of getting whatever Lakers preseason game graphs. This is a player having long lines for auto.
Mine was like going back into the consistent. Crazy.
He's probably more Bryant is.
Oh.
Actually, no, other than people's Bryant is on hoop.
But they know that.
Yes, they do, and they know LeVar. Yeah, everybody knows that point.
Well, they're on Facebook.
Show.
I haven't actually watched it. Anyone?
I
clue?
didn't.
Yeah,
Count
don't care
myself
enough.
left.
We haven't given it.
He's got. I don't know if he has it on my Facebook. Take that away.